What problem are you most qualified to solve? What is your primary skill? And when I go around the room and ask people, like, what's your primary skill and how are you solving a problem? Most people can't tell me. I'm a good person, it's not a primary skill. I'm a hard worker, it's not a primary skill. Okay, I show up every day, that's not a primary skill. What is your primary skill? This is the fundamental relationship. Now, when you have a very superior skill, what happens to your referrals? What happens to your referrals when people refer you and your connection is really good and you connect to people at a very high level? What happens is more people start coming to you for that skill. Because I have a problem and it's like, who is the best to solve this problem? When I went to write this book, I asked one question: who can help me make it a bestseller? And I called Ed Milet. And I said, who helped you with your book campaign? He said, Rory Vaden. I said, okay. Rory Vaden helped Lewis Howes. He helped Milet. He's had 5 back-to-back bestsellers. So I went to him and I said, how much does it cost for me to figure out how to do this? Now, so you got a skill and I got an ambition, or I got a problem. This is really what selling really is. All I'm doing is I'm going out to the marketplace and I'm locating your problem. I'm locating your ambition. And I'm helping you do it. Okay. Now, what if I don't have clarity over this right here? What do I become? Confused. A commodity. That's what you become. Because I can just get you anywhere. So think of the cycle like this. I find my primary skill. I package my primary skill. I market my primary skill. I monetize my primary skill. And the people who have the strongest skills make the most money. People who have generic skills make generic money. Okay. When you see people earning over $1 million of personal income, it's because they got a primary skill. They have some primary skill, and that skill is very, very strong. Okay. Now, because the way to find this skill is to really think of it like this. Because what are you really selling at the end of the day? Are you selling a product or service, or are you selling a skill? In my opinion, you're selling a skill. So what skill are you solving? So we go back to kind of the 4 circles. And we ask these questions because this gives me clarity. What are you great at doing? What do you love doing? What are you great at doing? Where is there a need in the world you can fulfill? And what are you supposed to be doing? This will be your conscience. Supposed to do. What do you love doing? What are you supposed to be doing? What are you great or talented at doing? And where is there a need that would pay you? See, this is something we should have learned very early in life. Now let's go back to the fundamental relationship. What are you really selling me? Your skill. To do what? Help me go from where? A to B. That's what you're selling me. Now, what if you have a skill, but you're not good at marketing that skill? What if you're not good at connection? Now you struggle to sell that skill. So everything is tied into each other. Okay? Everything is tied into each other. At the intersection of these 4 things is what some people would call your voice or calling in life. What do you love doing? What are you good at doing? Where is there a need in the world, and what are you supposed to be doing? I suspect high percentage of the people, as much as 70% of the people, are on the wrong bus doing the wrong thing. So it's like, why are you doing that? What are you supposed to be doing? Conscience. You can't read that? That's clear. That's what it looked like when I was a basketball coach. Now, where does the monetization part come in? Because this is really where people struggle with. Selling is the exchange of value for a problem. And it is through that exchange is where you make money. What if I exchange my talent for your money? Is that what an artist does? Yeah. See, we bought Garth Brooks tickets to the Coliseum at Caesars in December. It's $1,500 for tickets to see Garth Brooks in a small environment. Garth Brooks hasn't come out with a new song in the last 20 years. But I've seen him in stadiums. And I told my wife, I said, man, I'd like to see him in an arena where there's 1,200 people just to see him. I'm willing to spend $1,500 to see him in a small environment like that. What am I paying him what am I paying him for? Yeah, he's working. That's his work. I'm actually paying to watch him work. That's why I always say, how much would somebody pay to watch you work? If you were the best at what you do, people would pay a lot of money to watch it. Right? They'd come from all over the world to watch it. So selling is me going to Debbie and saying and locating her ambition, connecting with her so she feels seen and heard and understood, and me actually helping her move from A to B in her life. That's all selling really is. Now, what if I had 5,000 Debbies coming in? What if I had 1 million Debbies coming in? You don't need more money, you need more people. The people have the money. See, all the people in my space right now, if you watch what they're doing, they're all partnering with other people, and they're doing free events, and they're pushing it out to millions of people because they're all sharing each other's list. What they're really doing is building databases of millions of people. Okay? Cardone just did it. Tony Robbins is doing it. And what they're doing is they're actually going, hey, man, let's combine, push out to your list and my list and their list, and they get all these people. And then every person that is sold on the back end, the people who use that list get money back to them. They get a percentage of that sale. It's called affiliate. It's affiliates. But imagine if you had a database of 20 million people to market to. That's how they're getting a database of 20 million people. Okay, so in today's world, Jim, this is something for you to know. Like for my next event I'm doing March 9 through 11, Purpose to Profits, $27 to $47 event. I paid $50,000 just to get access to a list of 400,000 people. And the guy I bought it from guaranteed that I would make that 50,000 back, or he would give me the 50,000 back. So instead of paying Facebook the 50,000, and it costed me a lot to acquire a customer, I'm going to a warm market of people who we think would buy tickets to that. And then we're playing a game of probability, no different than you making an investment. You give me 250 people and we generate $500,000. What if you gave me 1,000 people and we generated $2 million? See what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to do is have a 7-figure event in 3 days with over 1,000 people. Okay. And I'm making an investment into that event, no different than me investing in a real estate deal. I'm just getting my money back a whole lot faster. See what I'm saying? So the next thing we'll do is actually take investors where we could put $1 million of marketing into an event and pay the investors back in 8 weeks. See where I'm going? So there's actually hard money lenders and people who want to invest in things like this so they can get 10, 20% on their money and then get it back in 8 weeks. If we can show that we can do this over and over. Well, I did 4 last year and I generated $2 million in 4 events. So it's a pretty good investment if the numbers work out right? And I'm willing to put my own money into it as an investment. So what am I doing? What I'm really doing is saying, give me more people and we'll make more money. Okay. Now, what's your version of that? Because if you have a lead problem, you really got a people problem. You don't have enough people. Well, it could be because you're not clear. You're really not clear in this right here. What are you really selling to people? And who would pay the most money for it? Now, when you look at the insurance model that you ladies are in, what's the number one problem here? What's the problem with the business model, if there is one?